One day later in the year, when the Colts finally wrap up this division race and they clinch it with weeks to go, we'll play the video of me from the preseason in which I said that everybody's going to get fired. Daniel Jones is a disaster, all this and that. And then we'll cut back to me with a giant egg on my face.
All right, everybody, and welcome back. As always, I am your party host, Joe Rivera, and along with me, as always, is one of the preeminent ball knowers of USA Today, and that's Chris Boombaka Boom. We're at the midpoint. Past week 8, we're at the midpoint of the NFL season now. Trade deadline's around the corner. Feels a little weird, right? It always goes a little quicker than you expect.
Scary to think like that, Joe, especially on the heels of a really bad NFL Sunday, 10 of the 11 games blowouts. I know we had the most frequent bye week for teams, so there wasn't too much action going on, but tough to really find something to enjoy yesterday, even if your team won.
Yeah, it's sure if your team won, if you're one of the lucky ones who won yesterday. And yeah, boom, it's funny because you get by Mageddon, and so you get a lighter slate of games on a Sunday. So you're hoping for more excitement, but that's just not the case. It's just other than the New York Football Jets finally getting off the schneid
Yeah, you
here.
must
You
be
know,
feeling excellent this Monday morning.
the New Jersey air smells a little better. The coffee tastes a little sweeter. Everything feels better after a win, even if you're not in the locker room. So, yeah, nice to finally get a win there. Boom. No therapy couch this week, which is nice too. So, um,
Excellent.
being midway through the NFL season, though, boom, we want to get right into it. So, I want to call this segment second read, and a lot of divisions are really tight, especially across the NFC, where the division leader might be in a little bit of a precarious position. So, we're going to go division by division here, and you give me your second read on these divisions and who could potentially unseat the division leaders here, right? So, let's start with the NFC North. What's your read on the NFC North as we enter Week 9?
Yeah, Jordan Love looked awesome on Sunday Night Football. I thought he really resembled the 2023 second half form that helped the Packers get to that 7th seed and then knock off the Cowboys in the playoffs. So I still have the Lions winning that division, though. I think they're a game behind or a half game behind, and I like the Lions over the Packers in the NFC North. That's my second read there.
All right, boom. Let's head to the NFC South. Lots of injuries all over the place. The Buccaneers have been the talk of the division all year with the way that Baker Mayfield's played like an MVP and the way that he's been able to lead them to wins all through the season. What's your take on the NFC South? The Panthers are showing some signs of life in recent weeks. Should the Bucks be concerned?
Only if Bryce Young gets healthy quickly and then is able to take his game to the next level from even what we saw at the start of this year. I think that the Bucks are kind of in control, even with the litany of injuries that they're dealing with. That offense has really struggled the last couple of weeks. I still think that they're safe in a pretty weak division. The Falcons have two of the most inexplicable losses of the season, and the Saints are the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, sorry to Saints fans. I mean, you're looking more towards April right now than you are to January, but yeah, I mean, the Bucks have it's incredible to watch to have seen not only the way that the Bucks have won this year, but to navigate all of the injuries. I mean, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Amika Ibuka, Bucky Irving, and still in these games all year long. And Baker Mayfield has looked every bit the part, right? No buyer's remorse there. So, yeah, I can see that. Boom. Let's head down to the NFC West now. The Niners, the Niners are the Niners. Kyle Shanahan, we know that he has a tendency of pulling rabbits out of his hat, right? He's dealt with lots of injuries in his career. Rams look pretty good too. What's your take on the NFC West, Boom?
Well, usually when the Niners have injuries, their seasons go completely dunzo. So it's impressive that they are out in first place right now, in my opinion. But I think that that injury bug is just going to catch up to them in the end, kind of unlike the Buccaneers, who have a weak division, but the Niners are obviously in a much stronger division with the Seahawks and Rams there. I like the Rams in the NFC West.
Yeah, I mean, all of how many times do you have to feel like we've talked about it a lot, right? But Matthew Stafford has been excellent this season. Even without Puka Nakua, like he seems to be finding a little something with Devontae Adams. He's still a good player. Like I think some people were quick to write him off after last season, finishing out his season with the Jets there. But he still looks good and fitting in that offense just fine. So yeah, I can see the Rams. No debate here, especially with the injuries the Niners have dealt with. And last but not least, the NFC East. I mean, this is what's your second read, Boom? It's got to be the Eagles to lose, right?
Totally 100%. It's the NFC least, not the NFC beast this year. So Eagles all the way, same as it ever was.
Yeah, I mean, that brief 15 seconds of glimmer of hope from the Giants a couple weeks ago is just completely dissipated now. And like, and even if you're a believer in the way that that Dallas has played offense this year, the defense is still just an atrocity, right? And losing to the Broncos this week,
I really
it's no
expected them to
bueno.
be in that game. I really expected them to give Denver a fight. I'm not like overly impressed with Denver this year, but I, yeah, bad for Dallas.
All right, boom. So we rolled through the NFC and your second read on all the divisions out there. Let's head over to the AFC where things are equally as cluttered in a lot of spots. So let's head over to the AFC North and listen. I mean, the Steelers, the Steelers are the Steelers with Rodgers, right? I mean, the Ravens have dealt with injuries. The Bengals lose that game somehow, some way to the Jets in Week 8, and the Browns are the Browns. What's your second read on the AFC North right now?
Yeah, so much for the Bengals being able to tread water until Joe Burrow comes back. Not even Flacco could save them in that defense, which is just horrible, but almost equally disastrous as the Steelers defense. We've been talking about it since I was there again when they played the Jets week 1. So, give me the Ravens in the AFC North. Give me a Lamar Jackson comeback. Give me the Ravens winning it at like 10-7. They have a really weak schedule coming up through November. So, I think that the Ravens get it done in the AFC North.
That's spicy, boom. That's spicy. And the Steelers and their highest paid defense in the NFL. I mean, like Rodgers is we've said it before. I've said it before, boom. He's a high level game manager at this point. Like he still has a live arm, which is apparent, but you're not going to win a whole lot of games if you're just dumping it off and dumping it off and dumping it off. Like you're going to have to make a play downfield at some point and routinely. And DK Metcalf, has the connection really been there? I mean, not really. Not at least not what we expected it to be this season. So
Not
totally
down the
fair. I
field.
can see that.
Not down the
Yeah.
field.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, boom. Let's head out to the AFC South now. So the Colts, one of the biggest surprises, if not the biggest surprise of the 2025 NFL season, leading that division right now. But Jaguars have been pretty feisty. We know that they were getting a lot of turnovers early in the season, and the Texans' defense looks legit. It's just whatever's happening with the offense that's just totally disconnected. What's your take on the AFC South right now?
One day later in the year when the Colts finally wrap up this division race and they clinch it with weeks to go, we'll play the video of me from the preseason in which I said that everybody's going to get fired. Daniel Jones is a disaster, all this and that. And then we'll cut back to me with a giant egg on my face because nobody's catching the Colts. The Jags, I'm pretty sure, have both of their games still remaining against Indianapolis. So if they win both, who the heck knows? But I don't see that happening. The Texans have a great defense, and that honestly, like, might be, other than the Colts offense, the best unit within that division. But I don't think it's enough to get them over the Indianapolis hump right now and the bad start to their season. So give me the Colts.
I hear that, boom. No debate here. I mean, the Titans have a long way to go before they're any type of contender, right? And we're talking about what, new head coach, new everything. You just hope Cam Ward can figure it out there with proper support around him. And the Jaguars, I'm not sure anybody was really buying the Jaguars. Travis Hunter hasn't really looked like a lot of the player that people were expecting him to be this year. And listen, that's a tough ask for a guy looking to do something in NFL history, the first time in NFL history, right? At such an elite level. And so you give him a break. But yeah, I mean, it's the Colts. Daniel Jones looks legit. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's just everything has gone right for them this year. So that's the Colts division to lose in the FC South.
It's really Jonathan Taylor, but
Yeah, yeah,
that's a
jump.
different conversation.
Sure. Running backs do matter, apparently.
Good
All
ones.
right. The good ones do. You're right. All right, boom. Let's head out to the AFC West. And a lot of people had the Chargers as a sexy pick in that division this season. They look good in spurts. They lose a couple games in a row there, and then they come back out on Thursday Night Football and they roll. But it's still Patrick Mahomes, right? Like Denver maybe has looked good in spots, but what's your second read on the AFC West?
Yeah, neither the Chargers nor the Broncos have done enough for me right now to say that they're gonna beat out the Chiefs in that division. So the way with the Chiefs offense is playing right now, Patrick Mahomes kind of looking like vintage Mahomes, even if a 30-year-old could have a vintage era. Um, Yeah, I'll take the Chiefs in the West until they're not the champions of the West, and that's just how I'm always going to operate in these situations.
You get Rashi Rice back, and like suddenly everything just starts to look a little bit smoother, right? Everything looks cleaner. Like again, rumors of the Chiefs' demise have been greatly exaggerated. They start off the season rough, but injuries play into a lot of that a lot of the time. So until they're dead and buried, and Andy Reid is retired, enjoying a cheeseburger somewhere, and Patrick Mahomes is doing whatever he does in his post. I can't look past the Chiefs in that division. So I'm
Yeah.
with you there.
If rushing the passer is going to be their biggest issue, I trust Steve Spagnuolo to figure it out and generate some quarterback menacing.
Absolutely. And let's head over to the AFC East. Boom. Now the Jets. Let's talk about their. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to talk about the Jets here in the AFC East, even with the win. It's still seemingly a two-horse race in that division between the Bills and the Patriots. Now, my feelings on the Bills. I don't know what their identity is. I'm not sure I trust them moving forward. But New England Patriots maybe looming there. What's your second read on the AFC East?
I'm totally in the bag for Drake May. Like that is my I don't even know what my muse of the 2025 season, I suppose. Um, but I still have the Bills pulling it out there. I don't know if the Pats schedule, albeit very weak, like is it weak enough for them to get to that 10-11 win territory? And even if they do, like, do the Bills not get there either? I'm not so sure. So I think the Bills ultimately come out on top in the East.
Yeah, shout out to Mike Vrabel, who's done a really good job with that team this season, right? Like, I know that obviously he's deserved his praise when he was the Tennessee head coach, but the later stages there, maybe you felt it was getting a little bit stale. The offenses weren't as explosive. It is what it is, but he seems to have them clicking, and it just seems like a perfect match too. Let's be honest, right? So yeah, I still like the Bills in the division. I'm not necessarily buying them as a Super Bowl contender, but to your point, Boom, I just don't see the Pats overtaking them in the AFC East.
Josh McDaniels might not be a very good head coach, but he could certainly scheme up an offense, and it looks like he's doing all right at developing a quarterback here. You look at Drake May's receiving core, and he's doing it with guys, Demario Douglas, Keyshawn Booty, and like these are nice players, but you look at what the elite quarterbacks have in the throughout the league, and they have number one options, even a strong number two option. Drake May does not have that, and it's not slowing him down at all. I think the play caller deserves a lot of credit for that.
All right, Boom. We touched on some trade talk last week, but we're just a week out from the NFL trade deadline on November 4th, and there's some interesting players out there, potential trade candidates, and our buddy over at USA Today, Michael Middlehurst Schwartz, put together a great list of potential trade candidates who could be on the block heading into November 4th. I'm going to give you a list of guys here, and you got to tell me whether you think they should stay or go, right? So let's start here with Chris Olave with the New Orleans Saints. Is he a guy who should stay or go?
He should definitely go, in my opinion. He's going to be a free agent after the 2026 season. And if a team is looking for an upgrade at wideout, I think Olave is an awesome option. You pay him $15.5 million on the 50-year option next year, and then you could sign him to a longer deal. And that's why the Saints should be looking to get rid of him, right? You don't need that money on the books next year. You don't need to lock him up long term when you're in the middle of a rebuild. So I think he's an easy trade candidate. Yeah.
Yeah, the only debate I think around Olave there is if you think Tyler Shuck is the guy in New Orleans that he's going to need as many weapons as possible to perform, right? And he came in yesterday, and I don't know if anybody knows what Tyler Shuck is going to be, but even they have other guys there they can throw the ball to. So I'm with you, Boom. I think Chris Olave is a go.
I'll raise my hand. I'll raise my hand. I know what Tyler Shuck is going to be. If he was the guy, he would have been starting week one.
It's a good point. Really fair point. All right, Boom. Let's head over to the New York Football Jets, and probably the biggest name that's been rumored to potentially be on the block is running back Brees Hall. Now, it doesn't sound like they've had any extension talks with Brees Hall. Maybe a guy who could be on the move ahead of November 4th. What do you think? Is Brees Hall a stay or go?
I would keep Brees Hall if I'm the New York Jets. I think that the caliber of back that he is, I think that, he's pretty close to that tier one, right? That we were talking about earlier. If not, he's definitely in tier two. Like I'm not really willing to let guys like that out the door. And you saw him yesterday. He's running all over a bad Bengals defense, yes, but and I think he became the fourth player in NFL history to have a rushing touchdown a game and also throw a game-winning touchdown with 2 minutes or less in the fourth quarter. So that kind of versatility, how can you part with that? No, but on a serious note, I think I think it would. I think Brees is in. He like clears the threshold of like let's keep this guy around no matter what kind of rebuild we find ourselves in here.
Why would the Jets want to trade QB1, right? Like it doesn't make any sense. But really, with Brees, I think the question with Brees is like, what does Darren Muji see right now? Does he see a guy who he can lock up long term and help whoever the next quarterback one is, or is he a guy who he can sell potentially, a little bit on the high side for and get the trade assets back to really build out this roster? It's very very interesting conundrum to be in if you're Darren Muji, GM of the Jets, but I can see the argument for both sides here. Boom. If this Aaron Glenn needs to win, like you get off to a 1-7 start of the season, you need to win. Brees Hall helps you win, so I understand keeping him around. All right, boom. Let's head out to the AFC West here and the Las Vegas Raiders, who have underperformed just a little bit to everybody's expectations this season. But Jacoby Myers is a guy that made a trade request public before the season. What do you think, Boom? Is he a stay or go?
Yeah, in a moment of total honesty here, I saw Jacoby Myers on our rundown list, and I had to ask if he was still on the Raiders because I wasn't totally sure. I guess that's what happens when your offense is only getting 3 first downs in a game and all those other great little superlatives that they have earned themselves throughout a dismal start to the season. So I'm going to say go just because kind of a lost year for the Raiders. If he wants out, you might as well get something in return for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing with Pete Carroll is if it's not happening this year, Pete Carroll's not a spring chicken, right? Like you got to find a way to build this future and quick. And the best way to do that is just offload quality players. Like it's going to hurt, but if you need the assets back or players back, that's the best way to build a team, right? So I'm with you, Boom. I think Jacoby Myers is the guy who should go. Let's head out to Cleveland now. And Cleveland Browns, Dylan Gabriel haven't really found much of anything in the way of wins. I mean, some here or there, but David Njoku, a tight end could be a quarterback's best friend, but is he a guy who should stay or go moving forward?
From the Browns' perspective, he should definitely go because they have another tight end one in there, and Harold Fannin, who's really come on strong in the last couple of weeks. I like his game a lot. Rookie out of Bowling Green, so yeah, no need for two. Especially again, a lost year. I mean, these guys aren't going anywhere with Dylan Gabriel, quarterback. Shadur's is nowhere close to seeing the field. I mean, we're gonna get Bailey Zappi starts before we know it, so you might as well get what you get.
I know it's Halloween season, Boom, but you don't need to put the fright in me like a Bailey Zappi start. That's absolutely terrifying thought.
It's coming. It's coming.
All right, Boom, and the last one on our list here, Rashid Shaheed out in New Orleans, another wide receiver. Maybe an embarrassment of riches at the wideout position. Speedy guy, deep threat. You should have a lot of value on the trade market. What do you think of Rashid Shaheed as a potential stay or go candidate?
Yeah, I think he makes a lot of sense for teams to like really do their homework on and bring in because take the top off the defense, speed threat. You can't really put a price on that, especially come postseason time. So contenders should really be checking in with the Saints on him in addition to Olave. But if I'm the Saints, it's almost like a inverse situation because if one of these guys on the roster is the guy, or you're planning on bringing him in, hopefully, and then the future quarterback that is in the near future, why not have this deep threat on your roster who can go out there and do those things for you? Because that is a young quarterback's best friend for sure. To have a guy who can just outrun everybody, you throw the ball up, and there he is running into the end zone. So if I'm the Saints, I'm probably hanging on to Shaheed because of that reason.
Absolutely, Boom, and I'm with you, right? A deep threat does so much for your offense, whether it's taking the top off the defense, you just throw some effort balls down there, or you have a guy who's just going to space out your offense for you, right? Like that's I feel like is the most underrated part of having a speedy wide receiver. You just get all the underneath stuff for free if they're respected enough by the defense. So I'm with you. I think, like you said, it's an interesting situation with Olave and Shaheed, but safe bet would probably say one of the two will be gone by the trade deadline.